Welcome to the Traveling Professors. I'm Professor Bob.
And I'm Professor Sherry.
And together, we are
the Traveling Professors.
In today's show, Sherry and I are going to take you on a walk outside the fortress of Carcassonne, out through the Aude gate and down to the little church of Saint-Germain. Now, you'll probably hear me pronounce this as Gimer, and that's the way I've pronounced it over the years, but I believe it is correctly pronounced as Saint-Germain.
Welcome to the Traveling Professor. I'm Professor Bob, and I'm all alone this time. I'm down at the base of Carcassonne, and what you see off to the side over here is what is known as the Bastide. This is where the walls came down from the city and encircled this church over here. And so there's the main palace up above of the Tronqueville, and so this is the Bastide.
Now here's our map of Carcassonne. Now there are only two gates that go completely through all of the defenses, the main two walls. One of them is the Narbonne gate up here in front, which is their main fortification. The one we're going to do is the Aude gate, which is down here in this region. And of course the church of Saint-Germain that I was talking about in the introduction is over here. There are actually three churches in the Carcassonne area: Saint-Germain, Saint-Nazaire, and then the cathedral down in the other town. Now there is several options of getting into the city through the second wall. For example, right here is the gate of Saint-Nazaire. And then there is another opening in the back that brings you into another set of walls through here. But the two main ones are up here in front, the Narbonne gate and the Aude gate. Here is the massive front main gate of Carcassonne, the Narbonne gate. So you have this gate out in front, in which goes through the first set of walls. There's a drawbridge there. We'll see that in a second. And then when you get out through that, then there's another set of gates that take you through the main tower gates. Now off to the side, you see the little pillar. That is a pillar dedicated to Lady Carcassonne. Legend goes that during the siege of the city by Charlemagne, she took her last cow and had it thrown over the walls, throwing it at the Charlemagne's forces. And Charlemagne supposedly remarked that if the citizens have that much food that they can throw cows off their walls, we're wasting our time, and left. So that's one of the stories about where the name Carcassonne comes from. Now as you go through that front gate, here's your view. When we came in, this is the way our little tiny car came in, and if you saw in the very first picture, you saw a vehicle. That's the other hotel's vehicle to take you into the city. So you come in and you don't really realize it, but you're walking across a drawbridge. In this picture you can see the chains. There are two sections that they can close if they want to. And then once you make a little turn, then you come out into the open, and then you have the main gate staring at you. Even if you manage to get through this section, the next section has a portcullis, it has murder holes, it has all sorts of other things. Now if you walk around to the back side of the fortress, over right in here, there is another entrance, and that's not a full gate entrance. That just comes in through the first set of walls, and then you have to move to another location. But it is a nice vantage point with which to look at the St. Gimer's Church. And so here is the view. If you walk to the back of the fortress and you look down to the village, you can see the slope of the land away from this. I mean, this is not an area that you're going to be attacking from. And if you did, all you needed to do was just have some rocks and logs along that top and roll them down. That would pretty much take care of that. So if you're going to be attacking Carcassonne, you're going to have to really do it either from the Narbonne gate or the Aude gate. Now here is that entrance on the back side. And you see it's very small, and it's just inside the first set of walls. If you go into the final fortress, the Tronqueville Castle, and look out the back window, you see where we're headed. This is a distant shot showing Saint-Germain's church, but what I like about this, it shows part of this Bastide. A Bastide is actually a French term for a walled city. They actually extended the walls of the fortress down to encircle the church during the Middle Ages period of time. And you can see some of those stones still in place when we get down there. Here's a little closer shot of that particular church. And you say, well, who's Saint-Germain? Well, it's interesting. He's a local gentleman. He's actually Bishop of Carcassonne from 902 to 931. And he got his start with bread miracles. What he did as a child was he would steal the bread that his mother was baking. and then would go around the streets of the city giving bread to poor people. His miracle was his mother never ran out of bread. And the local bishop at the time said the boy was destined to be a bishop, which he ultimately was. And of course, this church that you see here, this is a rebuild. This is the third church on the site. All three of the churches in Carcassonne were rebuilt and reconfigured by Eugene Viollet de la Duc, who was one of the great architects of the 1800s who helped to restore Notre Dame, Rheims, and all sorts of other places. And so what he did here, it reflects the Gothic style of the church, where he mixes Northern Gothic style with Southern Gothic style. Well, we're going out the other gate, the Aude gate, which is located right here. And we're going to go down to see the church and see all the defenses as well. So here's a view if you're walking up towards Carcassonne, the entrance, the Aude gate. But it's part of a series of entrances. That's just the whole area is called the Aude gate. So we're on street level. We're walking out the gate to begin leaving Carcassonne. So we're up on the main city. So we're going to have to go down. So we go through this exit. We go down this flight of stairs. We take a left, and there you can see the exit to the left. So we got to go down to the next level of fortifications. And as we head towards the exit, which is on the right, the other one leads up to another set of fortifications, and actually as an entrance to the Hôtel de la Cité as well. Once you go a little closer, now you can start seeing the exit. And then once you've gone through this area, there is one other section, which is the one we saw from the other direction. This one right here. And so that's the exit out of the Aude gate. Now we're out of the city, and we have to head down to the town. So we have to go down here and then make a sharp right. This makes it very difficult for attackers, because if you want to attack this gate, you got to bring whatever you're bringing up, turn it, and then move it uphill towards that gate, and of course all the different barriers beyond. Meanwhile, they're shooting at you all the time. So once you turn the corner, this is the view you have. It's a nice downhill shot into the little town. Here's the view, if you're an attacker, your view of the fortifications. Now that's the main castle there of the Tronquevilles, and they can be shooting at you from 3 different levels. And then we get a little closer, and here you can see the Bastide wall off to the right coming down. Now at this point, the little church of Saint-Germain is behind these bushes. You can't see them. That wall would have come down and encircled the whole thing. Not that they would have come down for services, because there's a church up there to begin with, the Church of Saint-Nazaire. This is designed to protect the church from looters. Here we are on the back side of the Church of Saint-Germain, and actually where I'm standing, you see where the railing is, the wall would have extended up pretty much all the way around this church. It's been removed. They've just left the base of it in several places. Now here's a little panoramic view of the church, looking behind it and out towards the Bastide, and then up a little bit, give you some idea what the terrain looks like in motion. So let's head into the Bastide. So here we are walking towards that entrance. Now, I didn't know what I was going to find there. I figured that the French really weren't going to be wild about having people walk up there, because you could probably hurt yourself. And they're right. Now here's a little closer. Now remember, it comes down very narrow, and then across this path it then spreads out and then would go around the church. There is a yellow warning sign telling you to be very, very, very careful, that you shouldn't do that. So here it is. I'm right in the middle of it, and I'm going to go a little bit higher up. I got about to the end of that path. It would have been easier if I had on really good shoes to do this, but I have on calf boots because my good walking shoes were destroyed walking in Paris. So this is as far as I could get. But you can see the castle fortress up ahead. And going up was pretty easy. However, turning around and going back down, it's really steep. And as I said before, very large boulders at the top of this. I mean, you could just release them and they would just bounce off the walls back and forth and would pretty much take everybody out. So I suggest anyone to try and do that. Now here's a little video that I did to give you a little more motion of what this looks like without a still. Unfortunately, nothing came rolling down on me while I was there, including myself. Well, let's head down to the church. I've been looking forward to going inside this church to take pictures. So here I'm going back down the path. It's not quite as steep here, but it's still pretty steep. Here we see the parking lot, the side of the church, and the warning sign. It wasn't red, it was yellow, so it was just warning me. And this is one of the parking lots that they use for people visiting the city. So I get in front of the church, I take this nice picture. It's pretty well shrouded in trees. Then I go up to the door, and there's a sign on it. I believe it only has services maybe once a week, maybe longer, and it's not open all the time. Now, maybe it is in the summer, because we were there in September, October, and they may not have opened it up. But I was very disappointed not to see the interior of the church. Even more disappointed to find that I couldn't find even a picture of the interior online. So, decided it's time to walk back. Now, walking down was okay. It's a lot harder to walk back up all of that. So, turned around. We're heading back up to the fortress. You can see just how high up the fortifications are. Very daunting. Quite frankly, this is very rarely attacked. But there was a Roman fort up here to begin with, and probably a local Gallic fortification as well. So here's the backside of the church, and you see this wall here, which is a retaining wall now, but that would have been part of the Bastide wall. And now we just have to walk up this cobblestone road. Here we're approaching the top of the ride, and then I can turn and see the Aude gate, and then begin walking back the way I came out. There's the entrance finally into the city, and there's the view of the main town. And now all I have to do is walk to the hotel and relax. But looking back, here's one of the pictures I took from up there where you can see the Bastide wall and the church shrouded in trees. And then here was a little better view where you can see the church of Saint-Germain as well. Sherry and I hope you enjoyed the tour. Please come by our YouTube channel at Bob Packett, and please subscribe and leave some comments. Thank you very much. I've been doing podcasting on history for over 15 years. I've got over 4,000 shows, and I've done CDs, which of course can be sent out as USBs. So if you would really like to get more on history for free, then come by my website, as you see here, historyaccordingtobob.com, and see what's there. So thank you very much again.